I don't know, like a year and a half ago, I had my fez on. I just happened to leave court, and I hop on the subway, and I run into a politician. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Tim Hudak. Yeah. You guys ever heard of Tim Hudak?
Conservatively.
Yeah, so I have my fez on. So I'm on the train and we're just talking about our children. And, you know, and then you mentioned my hat. And I mentioned the fact that I'm a Moor. And he's like, yo, Morocco, eh? It's like, I've always wanted to go there. And I looked at him and I said, this is Morocco. And the way everything was so divine, the door opened, and the man looked at me and goes, I know, and walked out.
Moor Divine and National. MHTA. Moor Holy Temple of Science. MSTA. Moor Science Temple of America. Higher self. Uplift the great. Lower self affiliates. Guilty crime. Productions. Semaphore militia. You already know what it is. Anonymous in the building. For a savior, ESs can't save you. Most likely one to enslave you. And from the cradle to the grave, what? Indoctrination's what they gave us. Made us, played us, but we played ourselves. Made ourselves who we are. Turned into raps from stars. See the caption, it's close but far. Step out the frame and see the real picture. No one else to blame if you don't get out before they get you. Bet your bottom dollar, step up, step out of line. Don't they hang you by your collar? Holla, if you hear me, I'm a Moor, please don't fear me. I'm just trying to express things clearly. Every second, minute, hour, day, month, yearly. We barely make it above water. So prepare, get ready for the onslaught.
Yeah, dog. That was live. Yo, more fire. Drop the next one.
Alright, I'm gonna drop some old school shit, some exclusive shit. This some 98 shit. This is off the Crime Connects album, Baby and Sketch TVs. You already know what it is, Anonymous in the building. Yo. So now the times are getting shorter, days are getting colder, and gradually we're physically getting older. So now it's time to strengthen up your mind, wise up mentally, rise to the full capacity. Now see true heights to reach the point of eternity. Collaborate with true brethren that you trust. Evaluate the situation, be patient and don't rush. Now plan your escape before it's too late. That's a must, rid of all the vanity. Wash away the lust, infatuation with material. That shit's got to get flushed. One guarantee you got in life is a return back to dust. So live just. Cause in these times of deception where they placed us, so now we have tribulations daily facing us. To keep their money and the system running, the ghetto youths gunning. And if you ain't on your guard, things can be stunning. See, they're very cunning, but can't manipulate the meek. So Jah sent and chose I and I to guide the weak and teach, so they can read the highest peak of the mountain called Zion. Now take heed to the awakening of the lion, and though he's humble, he walks fast on the concrete of the jungle. And food's scarce everywhere, so there's a constant rumble. But now we pierce through Babylon, so very soon they crumble. And they're scared of our origin, so behind their back they plot and mumble. Yo, and they know where we're from, they know where the foundation, but neglect all the facts, they wanna send us back home. Don't take our demands, they devise their own plans. Prepare for disaster, replicate and make clones. Rep the truth shall be shown. That's why I hold this microphone, to make it known, to get to use that they no longer have to roam. Huh? Never left alone.
Peace, Morzon. Let's rise and do the prayer. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace. Freedom.
And
justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through His holy prophet. Noble Drew Ali. Islam.
Peace.
Letters to be read every meeting. A warning from the Prophet to be read in every meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must put an end to all radical and agitating speeches while on their jobs, homes, or on the public streets. We advocate peace and not destruction. Stop trying out your cards with the Europeans, for it causes confusion. There has been much confusion caused by members trying out their cards. The cards are for your salvation. Failure of obeying my orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members that seek to hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or to violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors must obey the laws laid down to them by their prophet, and if they lose confidence in their prophet, give up your card and button, cease wearing your turban or fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. For this is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet is sending out a divine plea to all true Moorish Americans that they may do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem His people from their sinful ways. Noble Drew Ali. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. These are the instructions from your holy Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and His judgment is now on, but the weak comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to His divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And that is why many hearts have turned to stone, many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now, by the same people on our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works which I have performed in the last few years. Islam. One of the wanted to touch again on to the members of the Moor Science Temple. Islam. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. So we have now we have the individuals again in Canaanland who have deserted the path that has been laid. The evil spirit moving through Morehouse law is pushing this concept again. Authenticate birth certificates. Authenticate birth certificates. We already put on the record that these people are under investigation right now, and there is a Moor who has been dealing with them. There's a Moor who has been dealing with them, who got caught up in the investigation right now. Right? Right now. He's in court right now dealing with fraud charges because of him dealing with these people. Right? There is going to be, we were just speaking with some elders, and it is up to the individuals who realize that this is your divine Moorish movement, and that the teachings that we express are from your prophet, and the onus is on the people to make sure that they defend this individual's legacy and his teachings.
Islam.
Anybody, as far as Canaanland is concerned, anybody affiliated, connecting themselves to working with, in collusion with Morehouse law, anybody doing authenticate birth certificates or whatever like that, they're getting shimitar hit. Right? There is the attack against what we have been doing for the past 8 years out here is not from some foreign colonizers. We can speak with Brother Amari, who's interacted with quote-unquote police chief and who and all that stuff. They acknowledge, they already know what's up. There's not even nothing that they're arguing. Brother Lanre, who has had multiple interactions with these people, and the fact that he stands on his birthright as hard as he does, they don't even want to mess with him no more. They didn't want to deal with him anymore, because he realized that this is not something that Grand Sheik put him on, or Tesba put him on, or Omar put him on, or whatever like that. This is birthright. He's on the other side of the Atlantic, and he knows that being a Moor is his birthright, right? And exercising as such. Okay? So, you know, expect all these individuals, you know, people who take the position of, you know, they're here, they live here, they've been living here, but they're going to Chicago and Detroit and Florida and whatever, and trying to talk to all these Moors all over the place because they don't want to show any allegiance here, because they have some type of personal whatever against Kudrow, and they don't like Kudrow, whatever like that. They're gonna call people in Philadelphia and have five-hour conversations with them about issues they got with me, like me and them are dead. Like that's my matey. and we had a fight, and I'm in the doghouse, so they're going to talk to somebody. You know what I mean? We don't got no, there ain't nothing like that going on. You know what I mean? I don't have no sexual relations with none of these people. For them to not come deal with the issue. Doors open, 1 o'clock every Sunday. If you got a problem, you come check me. Phone numbers online. You got a problem, call, message phone's right there. I check the messages personally. So I will get your message if you have an issue. I got a cell phone. You don't want to talk to me? Well, you talk to Amari. You talk to Tesba. You talk to people all over. They got my number. How about I ask them for the number and then call and so you can deal with the issue? But clearly these people don't want to deal with the issue. Because the issue, majority of the time, is them. Why? Because our people, without taking studying serious, base everything on emotion. Somebody tells them shut up, they get mad. They can't deal with somebody told them shut the hell up. Right? Yeah, I'm being offensive. Right? I'm being offensive because I tell them shut. Well, you know, if you're talking BS, you're gonna be told shut up. That's not nothing to take personal.
You have to have a certain decorum how you say it.
Right? Yeah, so I have to say shut up politely. Right?
Please.
Please shut up.
Shut up, please.
Right?
Quiet.
Right? So in these trying hours now, dear Moors, every evil spirit is moving. Right? And again, stressing the fact, stop. The only reason that highwayman is taking advantage of people's birthright is because some dirty Moor did something to make these highwaymen think that they have this position that they can do that. Right? That's the only reason. The only reason that people are getting kidnapped and all that type of stuff is because you have dirty people who are putting out information that's having the de facto confused about what's what with regard to Moors. It's not the de facto doesn't know. Like when you go check the record, or like we told people, you know, all the old stuff, when you come into this information, all the stuff that you thought you knew or whatever like that, throw that stuff away and study about your Moorish history. After you study your Moorish history, now go back to all that stuff that you threw away and go through that stuff with a fine-tooth comb and find out all the things that you missed in your state of ignorance, right? To prove that all your teachers or whatever been relaying the message to you as to what this is about. This is about unity and it's about nationhood. You ask any so-called black leader, that's all they're about. Unifying our people. Once we become unified, now we have to be a nation. All of them. Even the sellout people talk like that. Right? Now saying all that to say, the operative, the FBI operative, Darhard Perry. Darhard Perry was a quote-unquote black FBI whatever that came out, spilled the beans on how these people infiltrate all the organizations and basically whatever. Remember, he worked for FBI, right? Anybody know what his code name was, or want to guess what his code name was? To the FBI guys.
Snitch?
He is that, but not that.
Turkey? Morisco.
Idiot.
Very good. Othello.
Othello. Why is this FBI guy who's infiltrating all these organizations or whatever, his code name by the FBI is Othello?
Moor.
Right? Yeah. So it's not an issue with FBI, CIA, Trump, whatever like that. These people already know what's up. They already know whose birthright they're stealing. Why are they able to steal the birthright? Because of individuals that got turbans, fezzes on, that made this religious, made this Islam, made this church, made this Christianity, made this be passive, made this everything except constitutional enforcement and making our people get into the status of their birthright and their nationality. That once these individuals stopped doing that and started implementing all these things is where the color of the Moorish movement got created. The fact that they stopped teaching what was supposed to be taught is why there's all this color as far as the Moorish movement's concerned. And then people not part of this are looking at the color as what this is, not looking at the facts of what this is, right? We had some people in the week come out. They put out this page of this book talking about how Noble Drew Ali is a pedophile and all this because the coroner, keep in mind, coroner's inquest on Noble Drew Ali's death. All right, keep in mind, not MSTA inquest, not Moorish Divine National Movement inquest, right? Not Moorish Holy Temple of Science inquest, not Moorish American inquest. But the coroner's inquest. The coroner's inquest came back and stated that Noble Drew Ali, that there's proof based on this coroner's inquest that Noble Drew Ali had sexual relations with, I think they said 14, 16, and 17-year-old girls, right? How he figured that out on a dead body in the 1920s, I don't know.
I better watch myself.
Right? I don't know.
So when did this kind of stuff start? When did this? Was this after his death, or was this something recent that people are saying?
Well, it came out. It came out recently, right? Somebody had put the page, whatever. If Sister Sharice is online, just send it to the email so we could read the page or whatever. So the page, it's a page. There's no book that's referenced. It's just a page, right? You know, people could screenshot and stuff on their phone or whatever, right?
Right.
So they screenshotted the page. So this is what's outlined in the page, a coroner's inquest or whatever like that. You know what I mean? And then they said he had sexual relations with 14, 16-year-old. And then the conversation from the weak-minded people was, you know, oh, he's gonna do this, he's gonna. Now, let's just say that he did have these relations, right? That doesn't take away from the fact that these people are not black people. He could have, like I was telling somebody the other day, he could have had bestiality, dog sex, and all that stuff. I really don't care personally, but I'm still not black. His message is still right and exact, even if he had sex with an elephant. Doesn't matter, because we're not looking at this man as some, you know what I mean, you know, he's the perfect being. He's so perfect, he's perfectest. He's the perfectest being that never did nothing wrong, never had no issues with nobody. He was just so amazingly, and Allah sent him and all that stuff, and you know, so he had no faults. I mean, we weren't there, we don't know, right? But if we go to the teachings instead of the individual, we can see that the teachings are right and exact, especially for the fact that we exercise these teachings to know that they're right and exact. We're not in the weak mind state, right? But this is part of the issue with why, you know, 4 people are in class, right? Oh, 5. Islam. Go ahead, what?
It sounds like when Malcolm X went to Mecca and came back, and he was saying those things about Elijah Muhammad,
Right.
So this, lately I've been looking on YouTube, and I'm watching Farrakhan, like Moor is talking to Farrakhan about Noble Drew Ali.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they want to mix up what Elijah Muhammad did with this.
Yeah.
So people don't, stick to it.
Right, take attention away from Elijah Muhammad's corruption.
Right.
Put it on Noble Drew Ali.
Right.
Right, which is why, again, if you check that Savior's Day, the most recent Savior, 6 people, all right. When we look at the most recent Savior's Day, there was a Moor on the stage, right? The Moor on the stage was Dougie Fresh Dad. Dougie Fresh, okay, the rap artist, right? It was Dougie Fresh Dad. Now, my perspective is, he's basically, the token, he's the token Moor. Because, he deals with Umar Johnson and he deals with all the black guys and all that stuff, and you know what I mean? And it's okay to be a Moor and engage black guys, right? It's all right to do that. So, from Farrakhan's purview, that'll be the best guy to have up there, because everybody's gonna relate to him, everybody knows who he is or whatever like that. So it's not gonna raise any, any change in what they're doing.
Safe.
Right? He's safe by having the Moor up there on the stage. Remember that this is a transition. Because remember, they never used to talk about Noble Drew Ali. Right? And then the one Savior's Day, they had Noble Drew Ali on the banner.
In the center.
Right? In the center of the banner. And then the other, the other Savior's Day, that same one, when they were actually talking about Noble Drew Ali and what he taught, and he told the people that they're Moors and all that type of stuff. Right? And then Farrakhan had to sit down, and then they were talking about how, well, Elijah Muhammad taught us that only 2 men are most important or whatever like that. Marcus Garvey and Noble Drew Ali. Right? Okay? Right? So, as we see these things play out, right, we have to come to a realization about what is going on with regard to this. And the idea is supreme suppression of the teachings of what Noble Drew Ali brought, because that is what the only salvation of the people is.
I'm interested again in this same thing, that this page with all this innuendo.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the reason
you got the stuff, just email if you could find that page or that post, just email that as an image so we could read it onto the record, what this book that nobody put a cover on and all that stuff.
Yeah, but the thing is, anytime we have any type of heroes, whether they're black heroes or Moors, they always do something to denigrate them.
Right.
Look, they got the movie out now with, what's it called?
What's it about?
I didn't see it. The uprising with Nat Turner.
Mm-hmm. Birth of a Nation?
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah.
I can't think of the words. But the point is, there's a book out that was published long after his death, making him into a homosexual.
Yeah.
So this is not surprising. This is really not surprising for us to hear this stuff now.
Well,
Yeah.
But
Most definitely.
in defense of that, if you see the movie is just as bad in its own way too, because I ended up renting it thinking that there could be something to it.
Something in there.
They made him out to be like a, almost like a monster in the movie.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It was a freedom fighter,
Right.
He expected to be somebody nice. Yeah, let me come and be nice to you and be good to your
I
children.
think we also have to remember the perspective that these things come from, right?
Yeah.
We're asking the criminal to describe the
Right,
crime, so
right.
of course he's going to describe it in a way that.
Now remember, the same brother who acted in it, he's the one that directed and all that stuff. The movie.
Right, yeah.
It wasn't some Europeans that made that
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? His brother made that movie.
Exactly.
Right.
And
You got anything else? Yeah.
No, it's just that, they always do that in any case, so we should never be surprised about these
Right,
things, you know?
right.
And in fact, we should expect them.
Yeah, it should be something to look out for,
Yeah.
right? Now, it's good as well that that Mother Mocha's here too, because we also wanna, based on our little meeting that we had, we also wanna put it out there to the 12 people that are online and everybody in here, that the reason why, another reason why the movement was able to be stagnated is strictly because the feminine principle has been absent in this,
Yeah.
right? And not absent in the sense of they're not proclaiming that they're Moors or whatever, but they're not active. They're not taking this information to the hedges and the highways like they can. If you know, like they say, the nation's only gonna rise if the woman's risen.
That's true.
But she can't be waiting for males to raise her. She has to raise herself, right? She has to come to the realization that, oh, no Ujwali had teachings or whatever like that. I'm gonna go check these teachings and see where this thing goes, where it's going, how it's leading, how am I directly affected by this, being that I'm feminine principle, right? So we're sending out a call to anybody out there that is on the feminine side to consider highly using your womanly powers, if you will, to influence more so brothers, right, to stand up, as well influencing the other mothers to start talking up and not being quiet with this information.
For real.
Because a woman is gonna have way more influence than man will, as far as waking up the people. Because we already know, as far as man's concerned, everything that he has is feminine. Men don't have masculine stuff, right? The whole existence of a man is based on, are women looking, are women gonna give me attention, are women gonna let me touch stuff and hit it, are women gonna let me, you know what I mean, take them out, are they gonna let me
Not necessarily in that order.
not in that order, right? But she has supreme influence, right? And you know, it's probably about time that you use some of that influence that you got to sway our people into raising their vibration, right? Because it can be done. You know, we used to say, you know, if sisters really had their stuff together, they stop letting brothers hit it or whatever, and we'll be out of this stuff tomorrow. So all the brothers will realize that, hold on a second, what do you mean we can't get nothing and all that? What do you mean? What do you mean you don't want nothing to do with me because I'm a dumb nigger? Well, I don't want nothing to do with you because you're a dumb nigger. And then watch how fast these guys have libraries and they start buying books, stop buying sneakers, trading Kijiji their sneakers or whatever like that so they can buy books, pull their pants up and all that stuff,
Right.
because sisters are speaking up and demanding that these brothers step their game up and stop playing this you know, stuff you could just do stuff just because, you know what I mean, we could just do stuff, right? When it really doesn't work like that. Everything that man does is to impress her. And if she's not impressed, trust me, you're not getting nothing. Right? If she's not impressed with your mind, with your body, with your whatever, if she's not impressed, brothers are pretty much done for. they haven't been impressed, which is why all these brothers got skirts on now, leotards, belly tops, piercing up everything that they can pierce or whatever like that, and pushing themselves further away from her. Right? You had on something, Omar?
Yeah,
I don't know if you left
huh?
you remember?
Yeah, just to follow up, because Mocha and I have been communicating, and I think, Mocha, you're planning to eventually, and further, there'll be further information to come vis-a-vis the Moorish Culture Club, that Mocha will be starting to hold some...
We'd like to have a women's auxiliary. As
A women's auxiliary.
Islam.
Start having that. Start having some classes or some meeting times for women to start building their own energy. So there will be further. So that has already manifested itself, and so there will be further information to come on that. And when that happens, I or Mocha can be contacted as to the times and times.
And again,
Thank you.
you know, when we speak about women taking their place with regard to this information, one of the more suggested that the quote unquote man's position with these things is to watch the door, and that's it. You're not giving no input into the sister stuff. You're not giving no ideas to them. You don't know opinions, nothing like that. Your duty is make sure that that door is watched, and let the sisters go in closed door or whatever and do their meeting thing. Sister Cherise, could you download the actual, because this thing's not opening. So could you download the actual image of the page and send it as an image opposed to as a link, because this link's not open. Right? So it is one of the causes of stagnation in the movement is the sisters' lack of involvement. And we understand, you know, just like the reverse, you know, she's inspired. But she's only inspired by men, not boys. If people start playing that they're boys or whatever, or quote unquote minors, right? Don't have mindset and all that stuff, you know, not able to do whatever, then she thinks that this is some joke or whatever, because all these guys doing is church, pray, and all the other BS that they've been doing for the past 100 years, which now is you know, making her go in the background, just like the elder was saying. They got women in the Moorish movement who are about 90 years old right now, sitting on so much info because ain't nobody to give it to, because nobody's worthy to them. This is what they're 90, sitting on info from Noble Ali's time that they're not releasing because nobody's worthy. There's some people that are worthy of, obviously, you know what I mean, but on a grand scale, ain't nobody worthy. Right? And it comes back to that same thing of what we're saying with, you know, Morehouse law and all that stuff, individuals that don't have the spirit of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, but exercising like they do. And then people look at them, oh, they know how to authenticate birth certificates and all that, so all right, we're gonna go get down with them or whatever. Right? And just to, again, stress the point of the whole authentication, that if the birth certificate was created without being authenticated, right? If they created it without authenticating it, then who are you coming after to authenticate and say that you just gave it some type of authority? It's not even 1 and 1 equals 12. Like, what are you talking about?
11 actually.
Right? Right? You know, and you know, our people are in such dire need of correct concepts, right? That, you know, they got nationality, they got birthrights, but they see themselves as broke and poor and all that stuff. Right? They see themselves as I have nothing. Well, if you have 100 million, you have nothing. Especially if that's in paper, you still have nothing. So you have nothing if you got something, and then you have nothing if you got nothing. So what's the problem? Everybody wants some way out. The only way out is with what was established by Noble Drew Ali. There's no other way out. If there was another way out, one of these black leaders or whatever already would have did it. And they haven't done it, so clearly there's no other way out than what he prescribed. Right? You were asking about that page thing, so we'll just put that out there. So, and they know what they're doing too, because you know they screenshotted it, but you know if you're like Omar or whatever, you can't read this unless you have your special glasses. I got 20/20, I can't read this. Right? So it is important to note that many quote-unquote white NRMs, I don't know what that is, have also evoked conflict and controversy. For example, A.J. Ballard, founder of the Great I Am, who was also found guilty of mail fraud. Merrill Singer, symbolic identity formation in an African American sect, Black Hebrew Israelites in Yvonne Shiro and Nathaniel Douche, Black Zion, African American religious encounters with some. The coroner's inquest into Noble Drew Ali's death discovered that he had been simultaneously sexually involved with a 14-year-old, 16-year-old, and a woman over 20 while married to Pearl Ali. Mary Foreman Bay, his second wife in polygamy, who was pregnant with his child, claimed he had married 2 women of tender age in Moorish American ceremony. A scandal erupted when it became known that Elijah Muhammad had engaged in a number of extramarital affairs with some of his young female secretaries, and at least 4 girls, sisters Evelyn, Rosary, Rosella, and Levita, had become pregnant. Sister Evelyn eventually filed a paternity suit against the messenger. The FBI wrote anonymous letters to his wife, Clara, and to other individuals within the NOI, but to no avail. But when Malcolm X confronted Elijah Muhammad, the latter responded, I am David. When you read about how David took another man's wife, I'm that David. You read about Noah who got drunk, that's me. You read about Lot who went up and laid with his own daughters. I had to fulfill all those things. See the autobiography of Malcolm X. And then they go into Yahweh Ben Yahweh and they talk about everybody. So they deal with everybody's quote unquote, you know.
So did the coroner check all those other people?
Oh, apparently, no, I don't think
Alright,
so.
just checking. I know this stuff.
And what did Noble Drew Ali's second wife say? He married 2 women of a tender age?
Yeah.
The 2 women that he married. You see how it's so, like, it's like he married Pearl and he married Mary. That's we can count 1, 2, okay, that's 2. Mary said he married 2 women of a tender age. Okay. He had 2 wives that we know of.
Yeah.
Those were his 2 wives. Maybe they were 21. That's a tender age.
Is there more information that we don't know about? Like,
right. So you see how people can take the actual truth and make it seem
what they
want.
Mandela effect. Right. Straight Mandela.
Yeah, man.
Just love the Ross Ben. Oh yeah, make sure you go get.
Oh wait.
Make sure you go get Ross Ben's book, Rocks of the Ages.
Omar. You have the book, right? You got yours. Okay. I wanted to go back to this authentication. Let's build on it for a second. Just I don't think Moore is really understanding.
Clearly the message isn't getting out like about what it is.
Authentication. In the law of evidence, the act or mode of giving authority or legal authenticity to a statute, record, or other written instrument or certified copy thereof, so as to render it legally admissible in evidence. An attestation made by a proper officer by which he certifies that a record is in due form of law and that the person who certifies it is the officer appointed so to do. Acts done with a view of causing an instrument to be known and identified. The question is...
read that last part,
Oh, sorry.
Record is form of law, and then...
So a record due form of... And that the person who certifies it is the officer appointed so to do. Acts done with a view of causing an instrument to be known and identified.
So you know what happens is when they go and certify it, the person who has really had control over it, or person whose autograph is on it, which wasn't anybody but somebody in the de facto registrar or treasurer or whoever,
Right.
gets to access those funds now.
Right.
Okay.
Those go from credit. Those go from debit to credit on the international, bond market.
Mm-hmm.
But you getting your hands on it?
Ain't happen.
Ain't happen. So you just help somebody to dip into your
As well, known and identified the document.
Yeah.
Which means that prior to authentication, the document is unknown.
Yeah.
That's right.
And unidentifiable.
Yeah.
And they just use their birthright to now make this document known and identifiable so that they could use it on the international market to get whatever it is that they can get, build whatever it is that they gotta build, while the people continue to suffer because all these individuals who've been pushing this thing to date can't show a check yet that they got with multiple zeros on it or whatever, or show a count that they can go dip into and then come out like the rappers with the Kyles and then stuff on their ears talking through their money and stuff like that. They're not doing none of that. But this process works.
I mean, clearly, as we just said, they don't understand that it works in terms of, is this document yours? Because a certificate is a bond. A bond is tied to something. What is this bond tied to? That is the question. They don't understand that if they do not know where that bond is tied to, you are committing fraud. Period.
And fraud has no statute of limitation. So they'll let you play fraud, right?
That's it.
Person who certifies is officer appointed.
Who appointed them?
Who appointed them? And if the officer is not yourself, right? If the officer is not yourself, again, you just gave up your birthright. Under the guise of getting something, getting some benefit, reaping something in order to, in order to be somebody, because obviously they think that their nationality is not enough. They think that their birthright is after something like this, even though they're gonna have nationality before they do this process. They're not exercising it as such. They're exercising it like their nationality is what's letting them be able to do this. But again, this is going down in the law of evidence that you did this process, because they have a contract now that you signed with your name on it, saying that they're the actual officer, right? Saying that the authenticity of this document comes because you went to them. The record is in due form of law because it's a contract, right? Mind you, fraudulent contract because you're the only one signing, just like birth certificate, just like social, just like everything else, license and everything else. The individual signing is probably the one that's going to be held to that thing, right? And again, like with what Brother Amari is saying, ultimately you're engaging in fraud, because these people are not authentic. These people are not authentic, right? They're GMO. Right. Right. They are not, like, and we also bring up too, like, the fact that the birth certificate wasn't authenticated at its creation should raise red flags. The fact that that this process wasn't done by the Registrar General or whoever put their signature on it, right?
19 how long?
From how long ago should bring something to people's attention. But again, everybody, due to lack of study, when they engage Moors, their mentality is, well, they're Moor, so they bet, I guess they know what's up or whatever like that. You know what I mean? I guess we can go with that. But for people out here, we've already put these people on blast. Who's pushing this? Already had tribunal and stuff like that for them. They're in exile right now. How is the exile people coming around to people who know that they're in exile? It's not that they're not, they're not like the other people who came and said, well, I don't want to be part of this no more, so give me back my stuff and I want to leave. I'm not coming back. Right? These are people who went through a tribunal, quote unquote court, got found guilty, not by us, by people outside of here. The same people that the dirty Moors here want to go call and complain to Kudro about, they were the judge, jury, and executioner of the tribunal. Found them guilty, executed them. And then headless people still coming around talking about, yeah, authenticate stuff, and we have this and we have that, and here's our number, and here's our website, come on, and join or whatever. And then people are going, it is what it is. But know for a fact that, it's Shimitar head going on right now. It's not gonna be, when we say, we met with whoever, de facto whatever, and they adhere to our demands. All these people who jump ship, don't think that you could get on the ark after the ark's out there. It's not happening. Don't think that we're let you swim, because shark infested waters when you start talking about you're gonna swim to the ark and all that. Because you should have been on it from its inception. Shouldn't have even came off of what's what. But because people's lack of integrity, lack of sincerity, always wanting something, that's a nigger mindset. That you need to get something all the time. Right? Something always, there always has to be a trade-off. Well, if I, you know, give you something to eat, when I come to your house, you have to give me something to eat. Why? You don't have to. You know what I mean? Right? There is going to be line drawn, and those individuals who are on the other side of the line, they're going to have issues because they're not going to be able to come back. Right? The people who, you know, it's just like with Brother Amari. You know, it's documented who's up to date on their dues, is up to date on their support, is up to date on they came to certain things, didn't come to certain things, or whatever like that. It's already recorded. So we already know who's who and what's what. We already know that, you know, 60% of the email list ain't gonna make it. We're good. We're cool with that. It's not no issues. You know, because we know that, you know, thought power built the pyramids, and only the ones who could lift the pyramid bricks with their mind were there to build it. Everybody else, they were standing there watching, wondering what's going on, how are they doing this and all that. Right? Peace, bro. All right. So it's gonna be like what they say, Fantastic Four, dynamic duo, whatever. It's not no 500 million whatever. It's very select few that are gonna do something with what it is that they're given. And then there's gonna be many who aren't. You know, just like I say, many are called chosen or few. Out of the few chosen, fewer accept the job. Right? Just like Brother X said, who the cap fit won't wear it. Refuse to wear it. Their hat and all that, their size, they even got their name and inside on the white stuff. But they don't want their stuff. Right? And it's gonna be, again, Moors, instead of pussyfooting with these people who's playing games out here, put a scimitar to their neck. And demand them to either get down with what it is or get lost. Because there's no tolerance. You know, we've been nice enough. No more being nice.
So sorry, these people are called the Moor House people?
Yeah, Moor House Law or something like that.
No, it's gonna be next month.
Huh?
What's it gonna be next month?
Right? Moor House Law. And then keep in mind that the idea of them being under investigation is because they are going to the courts and presenting themselves like they got bar cards. They're presenting themselves like they're attorney. They're presenting themselves like they can represent somebody. No Moorish American can represent anybody. None. No Moorish American can say, oh, well, that Moor over there, he has issues, so I'm gonna represent him in court because, you know, I'm his grand sheik and all that stuff. Hey, that's not what it is. Mufti's supposed to be doing that, not grand sheik. So as soon as man comes in, yeah, I'm grand sheik, whatever, I'm here to rep. They already know that. You don't even know what the hell you're talking about, because that's Mufti's job. Ain't no grand sheik going to no court to do anything for anybody. Doesn't work like that. Because they already know that the establishment of anything in the Americas is based on Muslim law. And the executor of the law in Islam is the Mufti. The judge, jury, executioner is the Mufti. That's why medieval times, executioner guy had this black on and all. Because he's representing death. He's representing end of you. End of whoever steps up to challenge. You're gonna have to deal with the guy in black. You're gonna have to deal with the black belt guy if you wanna prove that you're somebody in martial arts stuff. You're not gonna fight orange belt guy to prove yourself. The black belt you're gonna fight. Right? You think you're somebody? As far as even in insect world, Black Widow. Everybody playing with Black Widow. Why? Because they know that's the most deadliest. Black snakes, most deadliest. Look at society. Black people, the most deadliest people. Everybody knows that. That's why they don't mess with those people. That's why they stay far from those people. Because they're a threat to survival. They're a threat to humanity. This is something that's known. Right? So all the individuals who have no allegiance to here take notes from all the people outside of here who want to be part of this, and they're not even here. How much people we got about outside of Canaanland? That's dying to be members, calling every week to find out where's my. I sent in my membership form for the temple, last month and stuff like that. Am I gonna get some confirmation or something like that? Right? And then the people here, they're listening to Morehouse Law and they're listening to all these other clowns or whatever, talking BS about what is being done up here.
It's a lot.
Right? But it's a lot of individuals outside of Canaanland that want to be part of Canaanland Temple. They don't want to be part of the temple where they're at. They refuse to even go in the building where they're at. They've been there, didn't like what it was, and now they're stuck. Until they found out that they could join Canaanland Temple, and now they're bringing their whole family or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Right? Any questions or comments? We do it get these questions out the way right now. You can also there's a book out there called Eyes to My Soul. Eyes to My Soul by Tyrone Powers. And Tyrone Powers is FBI informant that infiltrated all these black organizations or whatever, spilling the beans on these guys. Right? Letting it all out. Quick Thomas Jefferson quote on tyranny. Single acts of tyranny may be ascribed to the accidental opinion of a day, but a series of oppressions begun at a distinguished period and pursued unalterably through every change of ministers too plainly prove a deliberate, systematic plan of reducing us to slavery. Single acts of tyranny are just accidental opinions. People just, find opportunity, take advantage or whatever like that. But when you have, in our case, 100 years of tyranny, 100 years of traitors that nobody's dealt with, everybody's cool with the traitors, even today, right? Yeah, they already know who the traitors are and all that, but nobody's exiling them, excommunicating them, exterminating them, they're letting them hang around, then you just set yourself to be a slave. Either from the same individuals or from the occupying individuals. Somebody's gonna enslave you if you're not gonna if you're not gonna acknowledge that there's treason taking place. right? Again, we talk to all the other nations. There's no nation on the planet other than the quote-unquote dark-skinned people of North America who excuse traitorous activity. Nobody on the planet excuses traitors. We're the only ones that they can be a traitor and then they can still come around the general population and chill and hang out and forgive and forget. You know?
For years they're doing that.
We're the only ones, right? Which is part of the reason why we're in the situation that we're in, on top of all the other stuff that we talked about, right? Look up trust. Brother Yusuf Matadi L. Islam, give thanks to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I'm Yusuf Matadi L. I have a question. By definition, can Hebrew Israelite be a nationality? Also, can you go over trust law if Moor should or shouldn't use it, or how to have a better understanding of trust law? Also, a question for yourself, how do you handle the slander? Islam.
All right. Trust. I trust you. That's it. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. A right of property, real or personal, held by party for the benefit, held by one party for the benefit of another. A confidence reposed in one person who is termed trustee for the benefit of another who is called the sestiqui trust, respecting property which is held by the trustee for the benefit of the sestiqui trust. State versus extra with a superior to court. Any arrangement whereby property is transferred with intention that it be administered by trustee for another's benefit. A fiduciary relation with respect to property, subjecting person by whom the property is held to equitable duties.
Read the last one again.
A fiduciary relation with respect to property, subjecting person by whom the property is held to equitable duties to deal with the property for the benefit of another person, which arises as the result of a manifestation of an intention to create it. Keep going?
Yeah.
An obligation on a person arising out of confidence reposed in him to apply property faithfully and according to such confidence, as being a nature of deposition by which proprietor transfers to another property of subject entrusted. Not that it should remain with him, but that it should be applied to certain uses for the behoof of third party. All right, I'm just gonna, 1 second.
What's the drink, huh?
A trust can be created for any purpose which is not illegal and which is not against public policy. Essential elements of trust are designated beneficiary and trustee, funds sufficiently identified to enable title to pass to trustee, and actual delivery to trustee with intention of passing title. Citibank, Farmers Trust Company, that's it.
So trust, right of property, held by one for benefit of the other. So this is why when you start getting into this information, you need to have your tools, quote unquote dictionaries, so you can look up what stuff is. If if man knows by being told, because they, you know, they like Taj, and Taj talks about trust all the time, but they never look it up. They just go on what he's saying, then they're lost. Because if anybody's making a trust or creating a trust, it's not for you. It's for a beneficiary. You're not making a trust so that, okay, I'll put all these books in a trust so I have them. Right? You got, right now that was Law Dictionary, so now regular dictionary.
Okay, trust. Middle English, trust from Scandinavian, Icelandic trust, confidence, akin to English, true. Noun, reliance on integrity, justice, etc. of a person, or on some quality or attribute of a thing, confidence. That on which one relies, as blessed is that man that maketh the Lord his trust. Also confident expectation of something or hope, etc. It goes, it's like half a page. You want the, and then there's further down the page, second definition of adjective, of or pertaining to trust, or a trust held in trust, as a trust fund, trust company, a company or corporation organized to exercise the functions of a trustee, but usually occupied also with banking and other financial activities. Trust, to have replaced trust or reliance, etc.
Right, so, is there a need for trust? Oh yes, there is. There's a supreme need for reliance on integrity. Before you even get here, you need to be here. You can't be talking about creating trust when you lack integrity.
True.
Because you just killed the trust.
Yeah.
Because more than likely you're creating this trust for yourself. Whereas, if you really wanted to, right? Wills for after you die, trust is for when you're living. Even though, in the definition of trust, things held in trust, they brought up banks or whatever like that, which getting into when somebody dies, then they create a trust for them. You have a trust account for whatever like that. Please donate money to the trust so that, you know, whoever that died, family can have something later.
Yeah.
Right? Again, you're dealing with something for somebody else. It's not for the individual creating it. Even though, when you go down here, fiduciary relation with respect to property is a trust. So the example for that is ownership of car out there. The ownership papers is filed with the Department of whatever, Ministry of whatever, which creates the obligation. But the obligation is not on you. The obligation is on those people because they're the ones that are claiming to have the fiduciary relation.
Yeah.
But what they're really doing is that they're stealing your stuff.
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't have to put your property with them in order for it to be quote unquote able to use out there.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just be able to use it.
Yeah.
Because it's your private property. But if you willingly take your private property and put it in their jurisdiction, now they take that private property and then they put that property in a trust for them to benefit off of. How do they benefit off it? By giving you tickets, they get paid, not you.
Yeah.
Insurance, they get paid, not you. Ownership, tags, whatever, plate, sticker stuff, you're paying them, and But if this is your stuff, they should be paying you to put their stuff on your stuff.
The trick.
No different than, deed. Deed is a trust instrument where they take your property as a fiduciary and they put it over here and they tell you, oh yeah, just keep paying until it's paid off. All the benefit going to them. Nothing going to the individual whose actual stuff it is. Right? And again, you're dealing with people who have no integrity. Because they said that they're colonists, they came over here, killed buffalo, killed fish, killed people in order to steal stuff over here.
They say it.
They say it.
Yeah.
So we know that they're not dealing with this.
Yeah.
Which is why you would hear Moors talk about make sure you create trust. But you're not creating a trust for yourself. Because you cannot be a trustee of the trust and benefit at the same time. You cannot say, I created a trust. Now all this property is mine because it's in the trust. This is why Noble Drew Ali had the trust in the temple. The temple's name is what the trust was in. So it's not on him. But anybody who's a member of the Moor Science Temple could now take their property, put it in that trust to protect it from the colonizing people who are about taking people's property and making sure that they can't survive or they can't live. Right? So yes, you should study trust law. You should know what trust law is in order for you to deal with those people. But then if you have property, if you have property, majority of people don't even have property. Half these Moors out here talking about trust, they don't have no property. But they're talking about trust, create trust, studying trust law. But you have no property? What's the sense of even, like...
Their property.
Right? You know what I mean? Right? Held by one for the benefit of the other. Right? So again, you can't be a trustee, you can't be the one holding it, and then being the one that is benefiting from it. So majority of the time, if you create a trust, you're creating the trust so that you can put all the stuff and then your children get it. Or your family member or whatever like that. While you're alive, not a will so that when you die, then they get it. They can get it in this lifetime. But again, remember that the whole concept of having the trust is so that the things can be transferred without there being any type of court, whatever, and other people getting involved. It's just whoever's name's on it as the beneficiary, that goes to them. Then that individual creates a trust to put the stuff for the next whoever's coming up behind them. And then and this is why you hear of when you hear, I mean they do that with wills too, but this is how you hear about for example plantations. They got plantation still around today. That's been around since 1700s, 1600s. And it's the same family that still has the same land and all that because everything was put in trust. So regardless, whether that person died, whether that person alive, if the beneficiary is there, they got access to it. To use it how they see fit. Whether they, because remember that you know, when people look at benefit, they always look at benefit as for them, which is how they get lost. Because the benefit is never ever for who's here right now.
No.
The benefit is all. Why Noble Drew Ali do what he did? For the people, for us today. He even said this is for the third, fourth generations and all that. This is not even for you people who are around me right now. This is for people who are coming later. And as soon as we realize that oh, you have to pass it on, right? Just like the information, just like we're the trustees of this information. Our duty is to make sure we pass this information to people who don't know.
That's it.
Right? That's perfect. And then once we do our job, then we're exercising trust.
Yeah.
And then the other stuff is gonna
That's it.
snowball into what it's supposed to be, right? Any other comments or?
Yeah, but if we don't trust each other, how are you gonna get trust?
Exactly.
And this is the reason why we're not going nowhere. Because if I donate or if I do anything for the temple, I'm not seeing it as the temple. I'm seeing Cujo, where these two passes are the ones
Yeah.
who are going to benefit.
Yeah, and the Benz outside and.
Yeah, so basically I will not want to put anything in their hand unless they're giving me something right away.
Right.
Like exchange something.
Right.
And this is not new. It's in our blood. So no matter how and what you do, those who know anything about the trust will join you
Right.
and create that beneficiary. But the rest, I don't know about this Negroes. I don't know about like, and this is individual thing.
Okay, but good point you make there, but no, but it's a good point you make, but
Yeah.
all those other facilities, whereas mosques, synagogues, churches are filled every Sunday.
Them feel.
Yeah, but that
Yeah.
donation, you see, it's going to God. This
Oh,
is
that's
how
so
we
good, yeah.
but you see,
So it's good,
You see,
yeah.
this is what's
Oh, you, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
you see, I've been around. I was born last night. So well, we're dealing with this because the first thing, as soon as you mention money for a Negro, like right away, are you giving me, like you're saying, if I give you food,
Yeah.
I expecting.
Yeah.
So
There's always expectation.
Mm-hmm.
this is the
More
reason
benefit.
why
Same thing.
I think the smaller we are, the better.
The better.
off it is. And those Moors that you've been talking about, up to now I cannot digest that there's a group.
Yeah. Outside.
Yeah,
of-
like, up to
yeah.
now, like, I don't
Yeah.
even want to tell myself like something like this could be
It
going
exists.
on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if the legal system is going after them, then I think our hands are clean.
Yeah. That,
Good company.
like we're saying, the reason why we know about the investigation because they told us. They wrote us to say, we have guy under investigation. He gave us your address.
And the letter came to you.
Yeah, the letter came here.
Yeah,
The mailbox right outside.
Yes.
Right? Why would they tell us? Because he's using here as his base, even though he's not even affiliated with here. But he's gonna use this address
Yes.
under the guise that, oh yeah, fleece people, I'm gonna say that, oh yeah, we're here. You know what I mean? And then they're gonna say,
Well, can I just, I think
Go ahead,
just to clarify, I think what, so that we're all, especially the ones here are clear, I think what happened was when he was operating under sort of our authority, or under that authority of being connected with here, this location was used as that mailing spot. So to
no, but
speak.
remember that was after.
No, but
He already got convicted and all that stuff when
Yeah.
we got the letter.
he had already gotten convicted through us, but to the colonizer, so-called, or to the de facto, they were writing here as if this was his base of operations.
Right, because that's what he's pushing.
But that's what he'd been pushing while he was connected with us.
But even when he wasn't connected with us, remember that's what the
Oh, right,
European,
afterwards.
what the European girl was saying. That he dropped her right at the corner.
Right.
And told her, oh yeah, the temple's right there. But we're closed right now.
About the massage palace lady.
Huh?
The massage lady.
Yeah, same one that was here today. You were here that
I
day.
think
Yeah,
I might have seen this guy one time
Yeah.
up when we were up with an England.
Was he around then? No, he wasn't around then.
Oh, he wasn't around that time. Because up to now, I was trying to picture who this individual was.
No, I don't think you were ever anywhere where he was at. But anyways, so with them taking this as their base, they trap themselves, right? Because really they have no connection to here,
Absolutely.
right? Being that they have no connection to here, now we're asking ourselves, well, why are you using here? Like, why? If you don't like us so much and you don't like this so much or whatever, why use this as the home base? Because you can't use anything else. Because they're beneficiaries, trying to be trustees.
And
But they can't be trustees, because in order to be a trustee, you need a charter.
Absolutely.
You cannot be a trustee without being chartered.
It's not
And
the
they're,
same
and they're
thing.
not chartered.
The guy in Jane and Finch, what was his name again? We used to have him in the class long time ago. That I was telling you that they have some issue with you personally. I don't remember. He also created something. He lived in Jane and Finch. He used to come into the class back in the days when little short brown guy. I don't know.
Yeah, Kush, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like that's why I told you even back then, like it's like they want to replace you. It's not more of the temple, but you.
Yeah.
But see, this is the Negro issues.
I know.
Like, it's like,
Big time.
They can't do nothing, man. They can't do nothing. They have no power
but
to move.
can they put on your shoes is the question.
Nah, they can't move this.
You could ask me that question.
Because
can't do
I've
nothing.
seen you take all kind of questions and you still
Ask Tess for that question.
maintain your coolness and answer the question.
Well, just to go there with the other part of the question, how do you deal with the slander? Because I was taught, just bigger or whatever, stress kills people. So these people doing their whatever, they think that, you know what I mean, they're getting in my mind and all that stuff. They're tripping.
This is what I've been telling you all
Get
along.
stronger, you get stronger. That's what it is.
That's all they do.
Stronger.
They're feeding
Yeah, you
the
get
fire.
stronger.
They think
Because
that they're throwing water and they got
Moor
gasoline in
is
the
so
water.
real that they can't even accept the truth.
But
They
you haven't
know
done
that.
anything to them. Like, I don't see anything you doing. Even when it comes to person.
I wake up the
I don't
people,
see-
them don't want to do that. You think them want
So
to do that?
why will you even, after you brought them in and show them everything, and still take a bicycle to come to the temple?
Yeah.
But yet, they're not seeing the suffer, how much you're suffering of their slander and putting you down. But what about the information on the temple?
Right.
But that's why they're doing it though. These people, because Fujo is doing what he's doing, and they are not of that mindset.
Sure.
Yeah, they wanna say, they'd like to be able to put in his shoes, walk in his shoes and do what he does, but they're not looking at this from the same perspective, that this is not what they're about. But if they were about this, they would be coming to class,
True.
they would be doing what they need to do, they wouldn't be out there. But this is, anytime we have anyone, whether they came as knowing themselves as Moors, or even any of our people who genuinely didn't know that they were Moors and thought they were black and tried to do something for black people, their own people always
Bring
try
them
to cut
down.
them down.
Yeah.
Always try to cut them down. You name anyone and you're gonna see their own people going in and trying to cut them down.
The
It's as
history.
simple as that.
Love that history.
They don't do anything, they don't build, they don't contribute, they don't make anything, they don't produce, but they're always ready to cut somebody else
True.
down. They're parasites.
Absolutely, you're right. Because I went to Republic of Dominica and then I realized Haiti is 3 hours, so I took a car. And while I was there, they kept calling the white man Blanco, 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 Blanco.
Blanco.
So I said, Blanco, isn't that black? So I said, what's the difference between blank and black? So I showed him that, hey, the individual that you think is superior to you is actually a blank, which is black. How you also as a Indian calling yourself a black? And they look at me and they say, because they speak Latin too, you're right. I said, so all along, this is what is, I mean, they looked at me like they said, oh my God. I said, and I said, look at the names that you have, Punta Cana, Cana Punta. So I said, Punta, and Punta isn't that prostitute? Yes. Cana is also a prostitute. So when they looked at me, they said, oh my, I'm breaking down the Latin for them. So I said, that's why I find 19-year-old Russian with a 14-year-old little girl rubbing his belly in the public and he's like, and I'm saying, this is why Punta is all over. I said, you're all Canos They looked at me and they said, you're right. So I said, then what's going on? So this black thing, like, if people only knew what it is, the word itself. If the word, so you don't even need to read and write. The sound of the word that you're hearing alone
should register.
Absolutely.
Should register
There's a mechanism within your own body that will show you what just transpired.
Even just as you're talking about words or whatever, we did last week. I did a Black History sit down or whatever at the school that I used to work at. So they were doing this thing on racism, and they showed the video about with the dolls, when they had the children pick the doll, black doll, white doll, or whatever like that, and they had a Spanish version. So they went through the whole thing, you know what I mean? Which doll, you know, same thing, oh, the Blanco doll, you know, whatever like that. So in the there was maybe, I think there was 5 children in the Spanish one. 4 of them identified that the doll that looked like them, you know, the ugly doll, was the Moreno doll. They didn't call it the Negro doll, called it the Moreno doll. You know what I mean? So we asked the question, so, you know, to all the students or whatever, you know, well, you know, why they say that and not Negro? Like, why would they say Negro or whatever? You know, nobody doesn't, you know, Asiatics, right? Nobody doesn't know nothing. Then your boy in the back, you know what I mean, when they sign up or whatever. Well, you know, I grew up learning Spanish and all that stuff, and we learned that, you know, Negro is derogatory term, and we're not supposed to use Negro, we're supposed to use Moreno. Wow. Like, look at them.
Wow.
Everybody turned back around, and there was just blank gaze. They didn't even know what just happened. They didn't even know what they missed in the thing. Because the whole thing was about moving from, you know, black to identifying yourself as Moor or whatever like that. You know what I mean? So, right in tune.
You have a very good point, because the same thing happened while I was there. We were talking about dinero. Because everybody asking for money. Dinero. So I said, Moranos, I said, do you know when you say me, amor, who you talking about? Mi amore? I said, you know that Nero is chocolate, like dark-skinned people. Nero.
Yeah.
You can say zero, whatever form you want to put it. I said, when you say dinero, what are you saying? Are you saying I'm the money? Because Nero means dark skin. So even when you say dinero,
that's why they're enslaved, because they're the money.
Wow. Yeah.
Basically, without you, no money exists. So now,
nothing could happen.
They were looking at me like I just dropped from the sky, and I was surrounded, I couldn't even move, especially the Haitians. Because only that skin in Republic Dominica are Haitians.
Couldn't even shift out of there, right?
Like, they don't want to. Then I went to one mountain called Mountain of Christ, where I found Chinese, Iranians, Turkish. I mean, close to the border of Haiti, and I said, what is going on? Like, deep inside.
Living there?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. From a long time ago.
Welcome.
So I found that the light-skinned Moors that came from the east, that came down here, that some of them still call themselves Arabian, or although they are Moranos in where they are, I realized that the light-skinned more this crypto Jew, whatever they call themselves, one day or the other, are still suppressing the dark skin in these places.
Of course.
And, sorry.
The light skin one.
Yeah, the light skin. Yeah, because the light skin more doesn't know that he's a light skin more. Now the dark skin more worships The light skin Moor.
Yeah, true.
This is why color is a very big issue among us. Extremely big issue.
You're the light shade of light.
Right. Next other question is from Brother Reginald White. I joined a MSTA in the territory of Louisiana, and they gave me a nationality card that says I am a citizen of the United States. And the leader of the lodge said that they are law-abiding, tax-paying Moors. So I asked the brother about the law, and Brother Taj Tariq Bey, thinking that all Moors were working together. I was told that they don't deal with the law, and you two Moors like Taj Tariq Bey, so I left. It's been nothing but confusion and running into walls since I started this journey. Can I just get a couple of simple answers from someone? Where do I file my declaration of nationality, the clerk of court office, the Secretary of State, etc.? Is there any non-religious MSTA in Houston, Texas that you know of? If you're a member of a lodge, how and where do I get a nationality card? So where do I file my declaration of nationality? Okay, so what? Now what's supposed to happen is that you go to the county recorder, you put the paperwork on the record at the county recorder, and then they give you a filing number, right? That filing number is put on the document, and then now you can take that document and you can go to wherever you have to go with that document, put people on notice. They have a number where they're going to go back to the county recorder to see that, okay, well, if you were able to file this in the county, then obviously your stuff is legit. Yeah. Because the county accepted it. Yeah. Being that majority of the counties were dissolved into city recorder of deeds, which deeds are feudal, or in a Roman venue, being that the deeds are feudal in a Roman venue, you don't want to file here, right? Which comes into notices, and why when you do your process of declaring your nationality on paper with name correction and judicial proclamation, that you make copies of your document and then you mail them out, certified, registered to all the individuals who are supposedly the heads of this corporate jurisdiction, right? And then they're supposed to take it, and then they're supposed to pass it down the line to everybody else, so that everybody knows that you've made the transition from being their property to being in your proper standing. So county recorder, if you can't send it to the county recorder, because when you go there, they'll automatically let you know. And when you go to this place called county recorder, you should go there with the state constitution, which would have the obligation of the county recorder in the constitution, about what their job is, what they're supposed to do, etc. Right? So you go there with that document, so that when they try to pull it, well, we can't do it, or you pull out your constitution and say, oh, section blah 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 says you got to do whatever. And then if they still don't want to do it, now you know that this county recorder is de facto, which means you don't need to deal with them. No. Because they're outside your jurisdiction, right? Which is where it comes into the notices, where you are handling your own affairs, which is really what's supposed to be happening. You're not supposed to be even dealing with these people, because the real county recorder for Moors is Morris Ann Temple. Which is why which is why you come here to proclaim your nationality.
True.
And then you leave here and you go out and be yourself. Right? I'm not familiar with any non-religious or religious MSTAs in Houston, Texas. But if there are any Moors in Houston that are allodial, civic-minded, constitutional Moors, you could email Canaanlandguide@gmail.com. Canaanlandguide@gmail.com, and we'll send you the contact for the brother in Texas or at Texas. And if you're not a member of a lodge, how and where do you get a nationality card? So what has happened is that the Moor Science Temple of America nationality cards have turned into membership cards, membership into an organization. So even though it says nationality on it, it's being pushed as you're a member of something. Right? Majority of nationality cards that come out of the Moor Science Temple of America, they have no acknowledgement of who the individual is other than a name. Being that the Moorish movement has been around for so long, you shouldn't have to have anything else but your name, because you are the identification. Like, you being in front of the individual who's asking for identification is the identification, and the card is just, to let them know that, you have something. But with what has going on with the occupational powers, you probably gonna need something that has a picture on it, description of yourself, eye color, hair color, etc., signature, thumbprint, whatever
just
like that.
The passport.
Yeah, just like all the other documentation that they got. So we have, for our temple, we use RV Bay Publications as the means to get the identification cards and the nationality card, because the front of the card has picture and all the other stuff, then the back has the same stuff that Noble Drew Ali had on his cards, right? Which again ties you to what Noble Drew Ali was doing, because you don't want to be tied to Moor Science Temple because of corruption that's taking place there, right? You want to tie yourself to the movement. You want to tie yourself to the teachings, to the lessons, right? You don't want to tie yourself to the building because of the corruption that has taken place over the past, 100 years or whatever, right? So, anything to add on that?
No?
Any other questions? Anybody has? From Jeffrey Edison Bay, just wanted to give thanks for the Wow album. His ears were massaged by the rhythmic, soulful mastery created, and he's gotta have it. So for anybody who hasn't heard, we just put out a compilation album, Canaanland Moor's compilation album, called Wow Wisdom of the Womb, and it's available right now at willofallah.com. Just so you know, you're not going to be sent CDs or whatever. This is the digital age, you know what I mean? Just stepping our stuff up or whatever. So you're going to get your download link. And once you purchase the album on the site, you're going to get your download link. And once you get your download link, the download link would probably be sent to your spam folder. So check your spam folder for the download link. Brother Hanif Bey, I want to make a proclamation by state in my territory, Alabama, but I am having a hard time understanding exactly how to go about doing so. Can you elaborate on this process? When you get not really anything to elaborate on, because once you do your proclamation, once you do your name correction, and judicial proclamation, you get a breakdown of instructions on what you're supposed to do with these papers that you get. And like we were saying before, you can either go to county recorder, file them there, and then put people on notice, or make copies yourself if the county recorder is corrupt, and send it out on your own registered, certified mail to whoever it is that is, quote unquote, the heads of that so-called state. And you put them on notice. We would suggest putting on notice anybody who you think needs to know that you proclaim their nationality, right? A lot of the interactions that we have with the demos, the occupational force, is usually due to some type of contract we have with them. So you would want to, even with Grand Chief Nature, he would suggest even going to these offices and putting them on notice that you made your proclamation. But keep in mind that if you, being that we've been occupied for so long and haven't done anything about it, don't look at it like, because you proclaim today, tomorrow, you have nothing to do with the off the grid and all that type of stuff, and you know what I mean? We don't need them and all that stuff. We can do it's really not really like that, right? Yes, these people are still occupying our land, but we also have a right to contract in our land with whoever we choose to or not choose to. And there is also an attempt on their part to keep us contracted with them, right? So it's ultimately going to come down to how are you contracting with them in order to keep yourself protected from being abused by them. It's not necessarily the fact of the nationality. You have a nationality, so you can do whatever. You have a nationality in order for you to study, learn, so that you can know how to deal with these people. Because people always get into this thing of, the false education appearing real, the fear of these people that they're the issue. They're not the issue, right? The issue is our people. The issue is historical black colleges and universities meeting with Trump, keeping people dumbed down, not teaching this information. I mean, the problem is black scholars putting out black books instead of putting out Moorish history books.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is Moorish Americans who know that they're obligated to constitutional enforcement, pushing statutes and codes and ordinances and things and acts and things that don't have any power in law. And the only way that those things have power in law is when Moors give it power. The only way that UCCs became popular is because Moors started doing them. Why didn't care about that prior to Moors getting involved with those things? It wasn't even anything that Europeans weren't even doing UCCs. They would just renounce their U.S. citizenship and then proclaim their ancestral homeland, right? I think the last question, or two more questions. Brother Guamanico L. Testimonial. Back in November 2006, I sent 2 affidavits to Stephanie Vallee, acting in the capacity of Quebec Minister of Justice, Child Support Services, a part of the Revenue Quebec Agency, and under the Quebec Ministry of Justice. My demand was to dismiss the fraudulent judgment so I can take care of this affair with the mother of my child. The subject matter was, I got aware that child support judgment was void ab initio for the simple fact that the document to produce the amount of payment salary was forced, adjoined as a type of revenue. The agency used the revenue to calculate the amount to be paid. Well, there was no response from Quebec Minister of Justice, so there is a default judgment, and I must produce the affidavit. Since I don't work right, Department of Justice Canada sent a summons to Revenue Quebec. To continue my process of challenging the whole thing, this correspondence from Department of Justice just proved the deficiencies. The letter is addressed to the ens legis. The first paragraph of the letter states that the government of Canada, knowing it is a de facto government, and plus based on the Statute of Westminster of 1931, a federal government was never lawfully created. No signature of an agent or principal is on the letter. Administrative supply chain process. At the moment, I must produce another affidavit to challenge child support judgment and authority of quote-unquote Canada government and sending to the Canada General Attorney. Do any Moors in Canaanland have some input or info to share regarding this subject matter? Peace, Monaco L. Well, like we tell all the other people who are dealing with child services, whatever, if the mother is warped in her mindset, if you can't call the mother on a one-way and get her to remove all the stuff, because you know, if you're dealing with child support, more than likely she went and told or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
But can I say something to that?
Yeah, bro.
Because I've been through a situation where I get married to a so-called Canadian girl who was born here, and she took away my child and went to Gulf and lived. Like for 9 years, I haven't seen that kid. Now he's big now. Yeah. He's like 14 years old. Now the government said, "Oh, we garnish you, David. We take away your driver's license, everything." I said, "Why?" They say, "Oh, you owe child support." I said, "Why?" They say, "But you don't pay for your kid and you blah blah blah." I said, "But I never saw that kid. I don't even know that kid." You know what? I'm gonna take her to court. The lady said to me, "Okay, sir. You know what? Since you're saying this and you have a case, okay, I'm going to come to the ministry and swipe your card. I'll give you back your driver's license." And go to court, and I went to Gulf, where she lived, and I found a Caucasian lawyer, so-called Mr. Punnett. So I was looking for some lawyers at the same time, but I called this lawyer named Sunshine. But when I called Sunshine, and I state who I am, Sunshine say, "But Mr. Blake, I cannot deal with you because the client that you're talking about is my client, which is your son." Yeah. Click in my ears in Gulf. Yeah. So I went now and I get Mr. Punnett and I tell Mr. Punnett about it. So he calls Sunshine now. Two of them attack. Brr. So he's telling Sunshine, so well, Dave, I haven't seen these kids for so much years and blah blah blah. And I think Maureen is or whatever. And you know, we shouldn't put Dave through this. You know, we have to fix this. They said I owed at the time they said I owed like 11,000 child support. Then when I go to the court and everything worked out, I overpaid $6,000 in child support. That's what I did. Yeah. I overpaid. So all of them said I owe, but I was paying because they garnished my wages and they took everything because I never stopped work same way. Yeah. I keep doing it. I keep going. So all this money, you know, it overpaid. Because at the time, the money that they said I was supposed to pay, it's out of range, it's just wrong, it's illegal. Yeah. My lawyer said that's illegal. This man don't even make how much money a week or a month. It's impossible. It's impossible for him to pay that with 3 other siblings, children, which he has to provide for Malachi, O'Neill, Gushi, and which now I pay for Malachi, but Malachi was the one who's taking all the money.
Yeah.
But I never saw him. But I was supporting the rest of the kids because I have 4 boys with 4 different women.
Yeah.
All 4 with all different moms. You know, so it's like I came out to the courthouse, Victoria still, you know, not paying that $11,000 that I owed, but they owe me $6,000.
Right.
But they say it's like I have to fight that now to get
Right, to
money
get this,
back,
right.
to get that money forward. You know,
Right,
so it's just a matter of how this thing, what kind of procedures with him and the woman, if they have a verbal, you know, saying that I will give you money and whatever. And then when you say that, you write it down
as soon as
a proof that you did give her that $100. And once you have that proof on that date, that time, and you go like this, Your Honor, you say, okay.
I've been paying.
Yeah,
whatever,
that's what he wants. He wants it on black and white.
Yeah.
He wants it on piece of paper to say, okay, this, all right.
But remember that ultimately their involvement with it is because master has to have his hands in the slave's affair.
Yes. Yeah.
Have to. And if the two slaves are in adversity, then they're gonna step in and do whatever it is that they want to do.
Yeah.
Because the jurisdictional authority is waived by the people who should be dealing with each other one-on-one, regardless of what the beef is, the situation is, or whatever like that. These 2 individuals who are the parents should be engaging in some type of communication for the child's sake. Opposed to, you know, for a person or whatever, which it usually comes down to. Somebody has some type of emotional whatever that they haven't gotten over, issue that they haven't dealt with, which causes the rift. Why they even call these people. But then, you know, when we use brother Mario Elbey, with his situation, you know, after he, you know, put them on notice, gave them writs and stood on his position, the child services people were like, we don't want nothing to do with you. Told the mom, don't even call us. Don't call us about him, because we're not even going to be dealing with it, right? Which he forced their hand to back off of it, so now she has to deal with him on the level of, you know, because she has nowhere to go. Like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. You know what I mean? She can't not deal with it. You know what I mean? Because and it's not like from what I understand, it's not like they had anything like that where they couldn't talk. You know what I mean? Slave master just stepped in and he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna deal with this or whatever. Yeah. Right? Which is what they usually do. That's how it goes down. Yeah. You know, just like with the brother. You know, you're gonna do certain things, and you're gonna put this out, put that out, or whatever like that. But what it comes down to is that they're using the mother, right? They have their hand up the mother's back. They're using her as the vocal piece.
Yeah, that's program.
On their to help them out. Yeah. Right? Because remember that, you know, that finance that they're taking from you, it ain't all going to. That's why they can't give you back the 60. You got because they took the fiat.
Yeah, they took it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They went on their little vacation, whatever like that, with the stuff that you gave that was supposed to go to. Yeah. So now that they can't find the funds, because you know it's supposed to be, if they're taking funds from you, right? And it's going to her, and then you find out that, oh well, you overpaid, then it should automatically just be her taking it, give it back. It's not. But if it's not there, it has to come from somewhere, right? And again, they're not gonna go to her because that's their puppet. Yeah. So they're not going to go to her to get it back from here.
She's on welfare.
Right? So they can't even go to her to get anything back.
No.
Right? So they're going to have to do the whole thing with the case, and then they're going to go rape somebody else's stuff to come give you yours. And now that guy who they raped to give you, now he's going to, if he's on it like how you're on it, he's going to question, well, why are you taking my stuff or whatever? Domino effect. Yeah. Right?
Scam.
Yeah.
It's gonna fall sometime.
And this is what it is that they do. Get us against each other, and then they play referee.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, that's how we fell too.
Yeah. It's a pattern.
Yeah.
It's not something that they're just doing this because they have an office or whatever like that. This is something that they've been doing.
Set
right? They've been doing this, right? Yeah, something.
Yeah, but what I was gonna say is, basically they don't even need to use her as a puppet because they already own him and her.
Right, right.
I don't think the brother realizes really what we're saying.
Yeah,
They already own them.
Right.
So they basically just
based on the status, they're just running the game.
Yeah. But they can do actually anything they want.
Whatever it is that they do is based on both individuals being stateless, being their property, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think the brother realizes what we're saying though.
Yeah.
Like I'm the one in front right now. I'm saying with the hood.
Yeah, I know I overs already because obviously they own you once you're on welfare, or you because of your status, or you're Jamaican, you're Trinidad, they own us. I know all of that.
Just the concept, even
but
I'm saying that you're Jamaican or Trinidadian. That's what I'm saying. Just the concept. You got to get that concept out of your head.
No, but
you're Jamaican or Trinidadian.
Yeah, but I'm just trying. Example, I overs everything you said. That's why I'm sitting here. Because I overs and I know myself as a Morris. But I'm trying to say to you now that what I'm trying to say is obviously from your Caribbean or whatever, of course they owned you. Master.
Yeah.
It's all about master. We know that. From the moment we come on this plane and we have this consciousness, we're like, whoops, master.
But no,
you're going straight to master, Anna.
That's not true.
But it's not that is the reality. That is the reality.
No, it's not.
Of course it is.
You were always the master. They just played games. They traded places with you. So they weren't always the master.
Well,
you were the master, and they
yeah, but try to. You see what you're saying now, and to me, I am right now. It's like, yes, it makes sense, but come on now. Don't I have to go through a procedure and a process to get my nationality forward? So claim my thing and say, yes, I am Morris, I want it forward, I want it back.
Well, it starts with mindset first.
Yeah, right.
As far as papers or cards or whatever like that, that's not gonna halt them from doing
whatever, right? Because they're still gonna try to destroy us.
They're still gonna try to do whatever.
They do.
But it's are we competent enough to do what it is that we're supposed to do? Or just like brother said, are we looking, like if they say I'm master and then I say I'm master, well, there's a conflict now.
You gotta have to defend it.
Right.
You have to defend it.
Right.
And how you defend it? With the law.
Right.
With the law. Spiritually dead.
Say again?
Because from the moment we're coming.
Yeah.
Like as he's saying also, I see a way, because basically when we're coming, we're spiritually dead.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And if I'm spiritually dead, all these books, all the information that somebody might tell me will not free me. Because I have to be free from the beginning, from the get-go, from the moment I come in on this planet. And we're not, because
that's not true. From the time you come in on the planet, you're free.
You're not free, because if your mother was a slave,
no,
and we're talking about from
you said
here,
spiritually,
from this place.
You said spiritually. From the time we come in spiritually into this plane, we are not dead.
The war is on a spiritual level.
That's true. That is
physical
true.
is where you're dead.
No, but hear this. From the moment you come in, if you are not free spiritually, it's impossible for anything else to free you.
Yeah, true.
This is the issue. This is something that individually, yes, we as a family we might come together, create an energy to free us, yes.
But again,
but if I am not,
that's physical.
Because you just said about the brother man that doesn't really understand what he's saying.
Yeah, but
because
that's
I'm listening to his
thinks.
speech. I'm listening to what he's saying.
Yes.
The speeches are they're letting off lightning bolts to me, because he's saying certain things that I'm listening to. I know that he's not free. He's saying keywords.
He's on the process to freedom, but not free.
Right.
Right.
He's on the process. So you're going for lawyer.
So you have to allow him now to know that.
Right. You're going for lawyer. You're talking about Trinidad. You're talking about Jamaica. So those are points that I'm listening to.
Okay.
That's how we came in here.
But that's a reality. That's just the reality. I see it's all around.
Everybody's different.
It's all around you.
Okay, but the reality is, right? The reality is, if you're here to change,
Yes.
you have to make a conscious effort of changing. You can't just blur out words, because words don't just go there and go nowhere. Words go and they go
Power,
out,
power,
seek, and come right
power,
back, right?
power.
So you gotta be careful when you say, oh, he just say no. You can't just say no, he's just saying that.
But it says in the book it was the word, and we don't know the word to begin with.
But you know now, we're not talking about beginning, we know now.
Okay, Brother, I can listen all day long to this teaching. And then the moment I step outside and get questioned by the enemy, who has more knowledge than I do, they will toss me on the sidewalk, knowing that I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's why they tell you, don't go by your own understanding.
Right.
Right? They always say, don't go by your own understanding. You have something inside you that knows everything.
Well, that's the thing that I was telling you from the beginning.
No, you weren't telling me that. I was telling you that spiritually, this is not physical. Spiritual and physical are two different things.
I think a lot of this is just a piece of the puzzle, and Kujo talked about it earlier when he talked about the mothers stepping up, the mothers teaching the sons and the daughters, because we're talking about situations that are already taking place.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
there's child support. We should not be in a position where we have to be worrying about child support or welfare for that matter.
True.
And when we teach our daughters, you need to know the man you're having whatever with, you know what I mean? So that, Islam, so that we don't keep creating these kinds of situations for ourselves, so that we have strong family units, so that when we're having children, we have a mother and a father that are looking after that child, and there's no need for welfare, and there's no need for any of these other institutions. And you know, I know it's not gonna solve everybody's problem now because the horse is already out of the gate, you know what I mean? But these are the things we have to talk about going forward, otherwise we're just gonna keep on repeating the same old BS. You know, and I'm not judging anybody here, period, because you had a few different children by I had a few different children too, by a few different fathers, right? This is not such a good thing. It's not.
I tell my kids that. I said, don't be like daddy.
Well,
don't do what daddy do.
And there's a whole lot more that
Don't
we
do
have to
that.
talk to our children about, you know, and it starts from here. You know, it starts from when they're this small, where we go back to honoring our ancient foremothers and forefathers, where we're not laying down with every Tom, Dick, and Harry that comes along, or Jane, Joan, or whoever. Where it comes to where we're actually getting to know each other, you know, getting to have
the
connections, whatever it takes, but we have to change this dynamic because our people are not in a good situation.
No.
You know? No. And you're not, this is not an isolated case, and the brother who's coming on, who's asking the question, this is rampant in our community. And I'm not saying it don't happen in other, it happens in other communities too, but we don't want it to happen any longer. This is why we're here, you know, and as women, we have to do something about this because we're the ones who bring these babies out here. So, and when the shit hits the fan, the man can get up and go any place he wants to go. You still got to look after that baby as a mother. You know what I'm saying? So, as women, we have to be very, very. I can't even, think of the word that I'm looking for in terms of
vigilant. And not just that, strong woman, strong community, right? So right there, from the woman is not strong.
This is what Kujo was saying a while ago.
Communities.
When the women start saying,
Down.
"This is my standard. If you can't meet that standard, I'm really not interested. Thank you very much. There's no love lost here." But this is what women have to do because we actually do own the power, you know. But we don't know that because we've been told that the patriarch comes in and we're told about honor the man and follow behind him and love, honor, and respect and obey, and we think that's what we have to do, but we don't have to do that, you know. And there's no need for all of this to continue. You know, so.
Mama is the leader.
Like I was saying, I just want to add that one thing.
Don't know.
By honoring my child, I'm honoring my forefathers and my foremothers. Because this is how they come through. So if I don't honor that child and show gratitude, because usually people say, well, it's a child, she or he does not know anything. Well, if I don't start them from the moment they come in, how am I claiming that I'm honoring my forefathers and my foremothers? And this is how they channel it. That's what I'm saying from the beginning.
But what about honoring just in general? not honoring your children because of your children, just honoring just in general.
Well,
Wouldn't that bring that spirit? And wouldn't that spirit follow you?
well, that chant
That's-
has not come from a general, from a collective.
I'm not talking about your children. I'm saying just honoring in general. You see somebody you don't know, you're gonna honor them. You see a cat, you're gonna honor the
Well,
cat.
that's what we should do.
You can see a
This is
plant,
one
you're
of
gonna
our
honor the plant.
principles, right?
That's
Love,
what, that's
truth,
what our,
peace, freedom,
that's
and
what our,
justice.
that's what our forefathers and foremothers were about, right? Has nothing to do with individuals, has nothing to do with people. Just honoring.
He's right in the way, you're right too.
Well,
No, I'm not
here-
trying to be right.
No, no, no.
I'm just trying to open up
You
conversation
gotta start from
because
somewhere, everything.
it's not about being right or wrong.
You're right.
The point I'm trying to make is,
You're right.
if we're talking about spirit and we're talking about ancestry, right? None of us were here physically. We were here spiritually. We weren't here physically to know what was going on.
True.
But we know that it's not what we're doing now, because we don't like the situation we're in right now,
It
right?
is.
But the spirit always leads you.
Are you talking about individual or collective when you say we don't like the situation that we're in?
Okay, as Moors,
No, no.
we're
Is it
not
collective
recognized,
or is it individual?
individual or collective. Individual or collective.
Both have it.
Because if I try to tell the people I grew up with
True.
about Moors and about who they are, I'm getting more of a backlash
Yeah.
than I get when I talk to it at work.
Say a man.
But it's how you go about it.
When I talk to it at work, they're more like, let's change the subject because
Yeah.
the master's coming back, is waking up. And we've been the servants running the house while the master's been sleeping.
Yeah.
When I talk to them, the guys I grew up with, it's more of, let's take the sword and let's chop his head off because he's talking things that are humbugging my spirit.
But that's what I'm saying, it's how you went about it. Because you have to know each individual, what
And the
level
wake
of
up,
spirit
that's why.
they are on in order for you to communicate.
This information.
Others they'll chop your head.
If I say to my brethren that I grew up with, there's another way, there's another way, it has nothing to do with dictating, there's another way why you're going through situations. And I bring up a situation for them, and they're at me. I didn't come with arms, I came with love.
On the same
You see
spiritual
what
level.
happened with
Right?
him? What happened
Different
with him?
level.
I came with love.
What happened, what you're trying to ask with, about what he was saying? You could tell like he's still baby. Right?
That's what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm saying about
hold
the
on,
words
let
he's
me-
making,
let I say-
the words he's
hold on,
speaking.
1 second.
Right?
1 second, please. And what happened with him is way before you even know about the Moor.
Yeah.
It's not just,
Way
it's not
I
now it's
understand
not.
that. I
So
understand
all
that.
he's demonstrating and illustrating is what took place that time in the
Yes.
manner that
Right.
he did his thing.
I understand that.
Because now, as it is now, and for once you keep going and learning and whatever, you wouldn't be talking the way he's talking now.
Well, I understand that. Everybody's a different point when they come to this planet. I understand that.
Yeah, so
But
that's why.
I didn't come with the Moor's knowledge either.
No, Mister, I said that's why
I
he talks like that
understand.
when you're saying to him.
But I didn't come with the Moor's knowledge. But I found it.
Allow him to go through his process.
Yes.
That's what
Well, I'm allowing it, but I have to speak because the spirit in me is telling me to speak. If I don't, I'm not
Okay.
doing my due.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not knocking him.
Right.
Never heard me knock him once.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is giving him little points to understand. Now, how he takes it is his business,
Right.
right? I'm coming with love.
But what I
Respecting it out.
I'm coming with love.
what expressed is based on what's expressed is for the others unfoldment.
That's it. It's not about nothing going at it. It's
Yeah.
all about love I'm coming at it. Because everybody here's my brother and sister.
So what you're,
Comment as well?
so what you're saying is, when we're speaking of ourselves, no matter how far we progress or how far we reach, to always speak with that Moorish mindset, not to be saying,
I'm Jamaican.
right,
I train.
always be in the moment.
See, I
be
overs
present.
that so far.
So that's what you're saying.
But why though?
Way up there
Why?
now.
Because that, when you see that information out there, it comes back to you.
Definitely.
So that manifestation, so
Definitely.
always be,
Definitely.
I get,
Has to.
always be.
Because that's why we're in the situation that we're in.
Right.
People sell.
Back and forth.
Like, we always, like, I don't want to dominate the conversation, but like for my mother, she would like to come, but she's in a situation now where physically she can't. So she's always blaming the past and other people, and I'm saying, Mom, there's something called cause and effect, right? The cause is what? What's the cause of why you're not feeling well? And she's like, well, the cause is because these people did this to me. And I'm like, no, that's not the cause. That's the effect. The cause is the mindset that you had attracted these people into your life. right? And then the outcome came what came.
Whatever came.
That's not right. So you got to take responsibility for that.
Yeah.
Now that it's done, okay, let's deal with it now. Let's go back to the root of why that happened and change that. Then you're gonna change the future.
Right.
But you can't sit there and keep saying, okay,
Somebody else or
That's
this
not gonna
and that,
change
this and
anything.
that, yeah.
Cause and effect. What is the cause? And what happened to the effect? The effect, somebody came and punched in my face. I hate that guy. What caused them to do that? What were your actions? Right? What were you speaking? What were your vibration on that caused this guy to come into your life? Those are the things I'm talking about. And that's spiritual. That's not physical.
No.
Yeah, I wanted to make a comment, and it comes out of a conversation I had yesterday with a gentleman, and we're talking about being a Moor, but then when I look, there's a placard, it says right in front of me, Moor Science Temple of America, right? The word that we very often leave out in our education is the word science, right? And there's something that is so obvious that we sometimes miss it because we're not, put it this way, scientifically oriented. Our educational system is very liberal arts. You know, we write a lot, we talk a lot, we say a lot, but when it comes to science, there are not too many of us that know too much about science. And we need to have a greater, deeper understanding of the role that science should be playing in our lives. And this is why I believe in a very higher education of all children, particularly women, who are very scientific oriented by nature, without having the correct way of expressing it, like it's done in science through symbols and certain language, because a lot of science is expressed through symbols. You know, when you're doing something scientific, you use symbols. And many of our children are not, even adults, because a lot of adults are in fact children. But if you haven't reached a certain level of maturity, regardless of age, you're still a child. And this is why the code becomes involved, because they're considered to be not mature enough to handle our own business. And that again comes not from lack of words, because you have some very eloquent speakers, right? But ask them to explain what they just said, and they can't really break it down. And if you can't break down what you just said, you don't know what you're talking about. You know? And so much of what is expressed in the world is done symbolically. And I see a lot of people getting tied up in courts because they believe in the more they say that's how they're going to get out of trouble. But symbolically, you can do a lot more by saying nothing.
That's right.
And you can say a lot more by the energy you put out. Because each of us we're all energy fields, right? Just like a battery has energy in it, it's only capable of doing work when you short it out or you put a bridge across it with a certain amount of resistance to ease it on. And everything has resistance in it. So we are energy. So if we focus by building the right spirit, what you can't see called spirit, of course, you know, but by building the right energy, our very presence changes the atmosphere in the way we sit. Just like if I were to come, I mean, you go to a dentist, let me give you an example. You go to a dentist to have your teeth, exactly, they take an x-ray, but you see them running out of the room and they go behind the sheet, but you don't know what they're going there for, right? But they don't know why they're running out the room, because what they're putting through your face, if they're exposed to it too much, causes damage, right? And so if something you can't see is enough to cause damage, imagine how much damage you can cause by just being present with that same amount of energy, right? What we happen to learn is how to tap into that energy, how to build that energy. I mean, like everybody, you use a cell phone, you gotta recharge it. How many of us know how to recharge ourselves? How many of us take the time to recharge ourselves? We're so busy, folk discharging ourselves.
Yeah, but not
recharging ourselves. So we want to know, well, why are we always telling we're getting nothing done? Because we spend more time discharging rather than recharging. And we do a lot of discharging by talking.
Yeah.
Which is why if we do a lot more, you know,
that's why we study.
Internal, you know, like it's being in the quiet and self-analyzing and, you know, reviewing, what am I doing, where am I going? We can get a, you know, when people talk, we could do a lot more sometimes with just listening and checking what they're saying and see where they're going, because it's not, as I always say, it's not so much what people say, it's what they don't say that really matters. So sometimes a person could say a lot more by saying nothing. You know, so that's part of the work that we deal about with the science needs to really be addressed, and how does this apply to us? You know, how, you know, we have children going to school and they're restless in school, and the first thing they do is get them Ritalin to keep them quiet, you know, something like that. Why are they restless? Why, you know, every word in science begins with the word W. Why? You know, why? You have to ask, what is this? You know, we don't do it enough. It's,
If I might add up to that, discharge, I find more of a male energy has been more discharging constantly, and we're not charging. But when I look at mothers, they're more of charging, collective, listening, quiet, and there it is. You can put it as a male and female. Because we are constantly just saying things that,
positive, negative.
yeah, constantly.
Yeah.
And not taking in nothing.
Last question, you probably, in regard to trust, since there are so many jacked up temples, one may not be able to put their properties into any of them. I look to Canaanland. Is it possible for members outside of Canaanland to utilize the MSTA trust of Canaanland, or are members outside of Canaanland not allowed because of the distances and or pseudo borderline? I hope this makes sense. One of the issues with the quote unquote the MSTA trust is that in itself is corrupted, which is why we tell people study trust law, right? Because when you have the last I checked, I think on the Noble Juali Trust, I think Wells Fargo was on there.
Oh, yeah.
So anybody talking MSTA trust, automatically, you know, something should be going off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Wells Fargo's on the MSTA trust. Wow. Why is Wells Fargo on there? How they get into that pot to even be involved, right? And again, it's just like when we look at the Clock of Destiny and Library of Congress, all the CM-based literature. How come the Library of Congress can't find where that stuff is? Right? It had to be somebody who's on this side that did that. It ain't them, because they don't have jurisdiction over it. Right? And again, you know, just like everything else, if somebody has part of it is distance. So you put something in Canaanland Trust and you have an issue, unless you're flying us out there to deal with, which I doubt people are gonna do, it doesn't even make sense to even go down that road. Study trust law and then set up your own stuff.
Yeah.
So your beneficiaries could have something.
I mean, to add to that, I mean, how vast is your knowledge in regards to your birthright that you're asking about trust, about putting stuff in trust? Your birthright is sufficient enough.
More important.
More or less. I mean, let's look at it this way. We talk about the higher power, we talk about Allah, we talk about God. The earth is there for your benefit. Whereas you eat, whereas you breathe, whereas you sleep, you get energy. That is the trust. You're the benefit of that trust, which is the earth. What more do you want? More or less. You know what I'm saying? So, not digressing from the question, it's more or less a question to the individual is, how much do you know about trust law to be asking to be put into a trust? Because someone's going to be administering that trust for you. Unless you know who that trust T is, be careful. Be very careful. I'm going to digress a minute because Cujo asks me about this a lot of times, and it's in regards to my quote-unquote children. They belong to a school system that has trustees. Has anybody ever asked where the trust is? Has anybody? There's a trustee. Okay, what does a trustee do?
In charge of your kid.
They're in charge of a trust.
Yeah.
Who are the trust?
School board trustees.
Kids.
They're in charge of the children. All right, so who do you converse with? Remember, who created that trust? You did. So the trustee has to do what the trustor says to do. Period. That's why I have no problems with the school system. And I know a lot of other parents that are like, they're pulling their hair out right now because they can't get the school system to do what they want to do. It was last month was that Black History Month thing. And I told the trustee, I told the principal, I told the teachers, all of them, my child is not to see, hear, be a part of anything that has to do with Black History Month. Every day when they had something, they called me to ask me what to do, because we're having something. Should we put them in the library, in the principal's office, or should they stay home? Every single day. Because I am the trustor of that trust, them being the trustee, they got to do what we tell them to do. Period. So to the individual, in regards to asking about being in the Canaanland trust, or this trust or that trust, brother, sister, understand what you're doing before you ask those questions. Period. Because if you have to ask that question, then
you don't understand.
We ain't ready.
It's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Next week, Sunday, we're gonna be attempting to have our town hall meeting at the temple. Due to the limited access to the space that we have, or that we're trying to get to do this thing. So we're just gonna do it here and see what manifests. So next Sunday, I believe, we'll send an email out with regard to time. If worse come to worse, it'll be probably 1 o'clock.
Yeah, just
regular time as class. Otherwise, you'll get an email or whatever. You have anything to?
Bring paper, pen, be ready to do something, be ready to contribute.
Right. And keep in mind, we're also going to be doing our equinox celebration soon. So keep your eyes to the email for that. If you haven't, if you're not on the email list, make sure Brother Amari has your email so you can be updated on what's going on. Any closing questions or remarks before we close out?
Thank you for this wonderful class.
It was long. Indeed, always Islam indeed.
All right, so we'll just close out. Islam to the Moors online. Peace and love. Thank you. Five on the left, two on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. To His holy prophet. Noble Jew Ali. Islam. Ameen.
I don't know, like a year and a half ago, I had my fez on. I just happened to leave court, and I hop on the subway, and I run into a politician. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Tim Hudak.
Yeah.
You guys ever heard of that?
Conservatively.
He's from Toronto. So I have my fez on. So I'm on the train and we're just talking about our children. And, you know, and then you mentioned my hat. And I mentioned the fact that I'm a Moor. And he's like, yo, Morocco, eh? It's like, I've always wanted to go there. And I looked at him and I said, this is Morocco. And the way everything was so divine, the door opened, and the man looked at me and goes, I know, and walked out.
They didn't have these same values, 400 years, 500 years ago. Where did they get their value system that they now have attained to? And my contention is that if you trace it back, it was the people of the East who brought them out of the Dark Ages, who brought about the period of ushered in or initiated the atmosphere that brought into Europe the period known as the Renaissance or the reawakening of Europe. And this reawakening actually involved an era during which the people of Europe who were coming out of the Dark Ages were then adopting the value system of the people in the East. Of the Oriental society, many of which they were exposed to for the first time during the Crusades. Well, these were African, Arab, Asian values. The only section of Europe that had a high value system during the Dark Ages were those on the Iberian Peninsula in the Spanish, Portuguese area, southern France. And that high state of culture existed there because Africans, known as Moors, had come there and brought it there.
I'm a Moor and got sense enough to know I'm a Moor. And ain't gonna never argue with you that I'm not a Moor.
Remember, random people don't have culture. They live dead culture, which is why we got so much death and destruction. They call it spirituality. I mean, it's the truth. And when it really boils down, we're sensitive when people bust us on our ignorance, but we are ignorant. It is. You ain't gonna fix a problem until you admit the problem exists.
So now they looking for a savior. ESs can't save you. Most likely one to enslave you. And from the cradle to the grave, what? Indoctrination's what they gave us. Made us, played us, but we played ourselves. Made ourselves who we are. Turn into rats from stars. See the caption, it's close but far. Step out the frame and see the real picture. No one else to blame if you don't get out before they get you. Bet your bottom dollar, step up, step out of line, and they hang you by your collar. Holla, if you hear me, I'm a Moor, please don't fear me. I'm just trying to express things clearly. Every second, minute, hour, day, week, month, yearly. We barely make it above water. So prepare, get ready for the onslaught.
You just wanna claim a spot? For the whole thing.
Searching for the sign of the times. Searching outside yourself when it's inside. Think you ain't stateless, you live in a lie. But you were destined for greatness no matter what was implied.